Hey guys, Roman Sliders here with a new episode of Player's Perspective, the interview series where I talk to fellow YouTubers and find out what makes them tick. Today's guest is a freelance writer who writes video game reviews and until recently used to vlog from a garage. He may or may not also resemble a famous movie star, although personally, I don't see it. Ladies and gentlemen, Jared Rosen. Jared, how are you?
Hey, ooh, that was nice. Neck crack action. It was good to be here. Thank you for having me on.
It's great to have you on. So, Jared, you are a freelance writer for TGS, which is a division of Maker Studios, and you primarily write the game reviews for the review series The Good, the Bad, and the Rating. So, how did you fall into that?
So I started working at Maker about 2 years ago. I was on the short-lived social media team. There's a social media team now, but there was a different one then.
Mm-hmm.
And they were more concerned with, it was a very small company then. It's not what it is now, which is like a huge like company. Like I think it's like the biggest. Is it the biggest network on YouTube? Or is it one of them?
I think it's the biggest independent network, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So before it was that, it was like, you know, TGS was like a little like former apartment over a taco shop.
Mm-hmm.
Like Maker was above an insurance sales place. So it was, you know, it was the only company of maybe like 25, 30 people. And they brought me in to do the social media for TGS and also head up their website, which looked at the time incredibly ugly.
Mm.
So when I was doing that, I wrote all of this, you know, like review content and news content, and everybody really liked that.
Mm-hmm.
But when they shuttered the website, I kind of went back to NorCal for a little while and took a break. And then when I came back down to LA to sort of pursue a more professional writing career, they offered me a gig as a reviewer because they wanted to start a review show, and they didn't have anybody on staff who might necessarily be good at that or could beat games as quickly or who had as much experience as I have, because I've been playing games for, you know, my entire life, which is over 2 decades of experience.
Yeah.
I have a disgusting wall that shows you I've wasted most of my childhood playing games. So, you know, then we ended up doing the Dragon's Dogma review, which, you know, the publishers got back to us and said, like, that's the best review that we've got out of all of them so far. It got something like, I think right now it's rocking like 150,000 views. It was like the number 2 review on Earth for a while. So I was pretty happy about how that turned out. They gave me the gig, and now that's kind of where we are today.
Yeah. Yeah, like reviewing anything really, it's such a subjective field. Yeah. No matter how kind of objective you try to be on a game, you're always going to get people who are so sort of passionate about whatever it is, and they're thinking like, why did you mark it lower? Why did you mark it higher than it was? And it seems you can never get anyone happy really with it.
No. I just got somebody the other day. So when I played through Metal Gear Solid Rising,
Revengeance,
Revengeance. I had a problem with it in that it was, you know, there are a lot of games where you're like overpowered on purpose. Kind of like, it's sort of like Dynasty Warrior syndrome. Like, it's not necessarily a bad thing to be overpowered. A lot of people like playing an overpowered character, but for a game like this, especially like a Devil May Cry kind of killer, I usually want to see more challenge in my fights. And even when you were getting into harder modes, it was still really, really easy, except for the boss fights where the difficulty would like spike horribly in the middle of the boss fight. So, you know, besides that, I really didn't like the story, and I'm a fiction writer on the side. So when I see a story that's like really not well written, I get it's like a huge pet peeve of mine. So balancing out, you know, okay, the gameplay is like, it's good, but it's not great. It's like there. You have to be like, all right, at what point does the balance, you know, kind of start veering into really subjective territory? And I sort of, on that review was the first time, because, you know, I've been seeing a lot in the comments, and they always tell you never to read the comments, but I've been seeing a lot in the comments, like, all right, put more, like Jared, say more shit, like throw more shit in there. Finally, I was like, all right, sure, like, let's see how this goes. And I finally said, like, look, this storyline is bad. I don't like it. It's not, you know, it doesn't make a lot of sense. The characters are boring. And, you know, the gameplay is, like, okay. So I gave it a 6. And within, like, 2 seconds, of that being posted,
everyone jumps
flooding my shit like, hey, like, how dare you say this stuff about, a lot of people were saying like I came out trying to hate it from the start, and I never try to hate a game from the start except for Aliens Colonial Marines.
Yeah,
but all of the other games I don't try to hate from the start. I try to give them a fair shake, and then, you know, it's an opinion. At the end of the day, it's an informed opinion. That's what critics are. But people are always going to take offense to what I say, no matter what. You know, they don't see the process. They don't really know who I am. They're just saying like, all right, here's a property I like, and this dude's saying some shit about it, so I'm going to get mad at him because obviously that's what I should do. Like, that's obviously a healthy reaction to seeing an opinion that differs from my own.
So when you write the reviews, do you purposely write it in a conversational style? Because when you hear it on the videos, they come across as very informal. You know, as if someone was talking directly to you.
That's my style. And then Lisa does a really great job of, because now I've been working with Lisa for almost a full year now, and she does, like, we work really well together. She reads my stuff really, really well, and then I have now started to mold my writing to make it sound better when she says it. So we're a pretty good team on that front, and I really like working with her for that reason. And then, you know, when other people like Dodger will read them sometimes, and we hang out all the time, so she like gets my jokes, so she delivers a lot of my jokes like on point. Mm-hmm. And then you have Jesse, who he appears never to actually want to be there, but I love him anyway. And then Lane, who's sort of like Slender Man, but like a person. So I always like, so he's fun for that reason. But yeah, I just like having it more of an informal tone, because I see a lot of like, you know, The Good, the Bad, and the Rating is not a unique concept. There are a lot of shows like that on YouTube and sort of in other channels. IGN has one. I think Destructoid has one. You know, they have like, it's a lady and she's pretty and she's telling you about games. Hey! But they're all very formal, and then they have like jokes, you know, scattered throughout, but they're very formal because it's not, you know, Jessica Chobot, I don't know her, but I don't, you know, whenever I see her talking, I'm like, I don't really get the feeling that she like knows what I see. I can't just burn. I'm gonna burn her right now. I'm gonna put her on blast. You know, but when I see her, you know, she probably does game. Honestly, she's in the industry, so I'm sure that she does game. But when I hear her talk, I don't get the idea that she does. Mm-hmm. So when they were like, all right, you're going to be working with Lisa, I'm like, okay, well, I know that Lisa does game. She wrote an article, or she wrote a column for Kotaku for a long time. She's been in the industry for forever. Like, let's just do this on a more conversational, informal note. And then, you know, she also gets to edit what I say. So if it comes off as too formal or there's too much information, she can kind of edit it down and make it more cleaner, make it more comfortable for her.
Cool. So you do a lot of behind the scenes work then. So have you ever thought about presenting anything or doing anything in front of the camera?
They like me for live streams. I'm actually better when I'm off book.
Yeah, so I've seen you a few times. Yeah.
Yeah, whenever they do a live stream, they always call me in. They're like, all right, Jared, like, you want to be on a live stream for 2 days? But like, if they're going to do, you know, a podcast, then it's never like, all right, get Jared on. They don't, you know, I remember when Iron Gamer was first made. Like, I was in the meeting where we came up with the idea for Iron Gamer, and it's like, I've never been invited on. But for a lot of the actual show content, they don't bring me on, because I'm not, you know, at the end of the day, I'm not a channel. I'm not as well known as other people in the network. People are starting to figure out who I am now. Like, now I'm more well known than I was, you know, 2 years ago. Just as kind of, you know, by virtue of interacting with everybody and showing up and stuff. But still, like, I'm never gonna be like the go-to guy for you know, really any sort of news or review content, just because I'm not that big of a dude. Like, I don't have a huge following to get like views or anything like that. And in raw terms, that's what it's all about. Like, I'm not going to be pulling the views, sort of. So, when I go through the comments, they're like, oh, why isn't Jared Rosen presenting these reviews? Well, first of all, Lisa's awesome, and she should keep doing it because she's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And second of all, I don't have any audience. Like, Jared Rosen, have a very, limited audience.
Yeah.
In terms of YouTube views. Like, there are people on Twitter, there are people on Tumblr, they follow me, and they're awesome, and they just like seeing what kind of, like, I feel like they just like making sure I'm not dead yet. Like, they just keep checking back to make, like, is he... No, he's not dead. Okay, good.
Yeah.
But like we have talked about it. The other day I was talking with somebody and they're like, we wanted to see if you can like present like one maybe for April Fool's Day. Or like sometime around like May to see like, just I'd like to do one so that everybody shuts up. But in terms of like actually doing it, like, probably not. Just at least not in the near future.
But I'm sure if you were, say, serious about it, I mean, you could, like, ask, I guess, and they might consider it, would they?
I don't know. It's, it's a lot about views, and I just don't have the traffic numbers. Like, I don't have a channel I can push. I don't have a big audience that I can direct to, any sort of thing that we do. And Lisa's the host, so, like, it's like Lisa's the host, and yeah, part of me feels like I would almost like if they just started putting me on, I would almost feel like bad because like that's totally Lisa's thing, and I really like working with her in the capacity where no one can see me, like a Rumpelstiltskin or like a troll. Like you can't. I'm there, and I've got a blood pact going, but like you'll never see me. Unless you like, double cross me and prick your finger on the loom.
Okay, cool. So if we kind of rewind a bit, so we're talking about what you're doing currently. So what were you doing previously before you got involved with TGS or Maker?
What was I doing before I got involved with Maker? How far back do you want to get? How legal do you want this to get?
Well. Just.
You want to go? Let's do job history. All right. Well, my first job, I was a Christmas tree salesman.
Mm-hmm.
No. So before I worked with Maker, so let's see. Going back, I was a drug runner for a while. Very legal. Very exciting. Would not recommend. Would not recommend that at all. I worked in Hollywood for a while after that. Shockingly, I worked in Hollywood right after that. Yeah, I worked at a talent management firm called Diverse Talent Group in Culver City, or not Culver, Century City. Sorry. I was the head of viral marketing for the electronic music division, which I was a techno reviewer prior to being a game reviewer. So I was a music reviewer for electronic music. Mostly like really good like London dubstep, like London underground dubstep, kind of the classic dub, and deep techno, stuff like that. Minimal tech. I worked a lot with guys who were sort of in the underground scene a lot. I worked as a live show reviewer for the LA Record. I was a writer there for a little while. And then I did freelance work helping some girl pass college. I was writing papers for her. And then I went to Maker in social media. And there's a lot of stuff before that, but it is also of stringent legality, so I will not go that far back into my history.
Yeah, but it seems Maker is a great place to work and to have a job.
Yeah, it's a pretty fun place. I mean, they have Nerf gun fights and stuff, which is cool. And I only get hit with them every once in a while. Plus, they ask me to dress up a lot of the time, which is fun. They had that where I just dressed up as a leprechaun, and basically we filmed like 2 hours of footage and then got 30 seconds out of it. And most of the day, I just spent running around the office like bugging people. Remember Chad, one of our network development guys, he just like came in and he hadn't seen me yet, so I just ran up next to him and danced for 10 minutes, and he kept going like, why is he doing this? Like, did he come in this? Is this for a shoot? What's happening? It was pretty great.
Cool. So up until quite recently, you were living in a garage. Is that right?
Living in a garage. Yes, I was. And what a great garage that was. Yeah. Yeah.
They seemed quite Spartan living conditions.
Yes, they were. They were kind of a last resort. They were. Unfortunately, I made a bit of a mistake, and sort of invested my money poorly, and ended up in a garage for about a year where I saved and worked, and then it ended up paying off because now I live in a really nice apartment. Although I'm live from the interior of my closet. I have a hat up here. I will show you. Oh yeah, get the sombrero action going. Because this is where I keep my hats and costumes. Here in the closet. This is good. Can everybody take me seriously now? Oh yeah.
well, the thing is that when this goes out, I'm gonna have like gameplay footage, so no one's gonna see the sombrero, I'm afraid.
Oh, that's too bad, because it's a really great sombrero.
Yeah, oh no, it definitely is. It definitely is.
But sorry, audience.
But sadly, only I'll ever see it.
Only Patrick gets that.
Yeah. Yeah. So, but now you live with you're in a new apartment with both Husky and Ro.
Yes.
Mancino. So, how did that come about?
That actually came about because they needed a personal assistant, and they had a guy in mind, but he dropped out to do animation. So they were like, "Hey, Jared, you can do lots of things. Would you like to do this?" And I was like, "Yes, I would." And now I live here.
That's it.
Honestly, it was like in a 2-week period, I went from like having no money and living it like across like 3 feet away from a water heater that could explode at any minute to living in a super nice apartment building that is probably the nicest place I've ever lived or ever will live.
It sounds like it all just happened really suddenly.
It happened really, really suddenly, and it was because I've been busting my ass. So that's why they came to me, is because like I have enough of a good reputation now where that was actually like a thing. Plus we've been good friends for a while since the King of the Web stream. We've been because that was really the first time I ever hung out with both of them for more than like 2 seconds. So
which king would this be? Rose King of the Web stream or Rose?
That's where people figured out who I was and what I did, and that I would take my shirt off on cam if enough people asked.
I remember watching.
No, I'm just saying that I would. I would take the shirt off. Not that you're into that, but
no, but you could.
I would, just do it right now. We're in a closet. No one can see me here.
No. All the closet analogies are just coming right in, aren't they? Yeah, I remember watching that stream, and I was watching a lot of it as I could, and then I just woke up just in time, accounting for the time difference, to just see it finish, and she won.
Yeah, that was crazy. That whole night was nuts, and for a long time, people were like, "Oh, you're the hero of the live stream. Like, if it hadn't been for you," and I'm like, "I'm pretty sure it wasn't me," but I guess just me answering questions like through the night because everybody was kind of really low energy.
Yeah.
And I, being a club kid and being a raver, I was like wide awake at 3 o'clock in the morning. It's 6 a.m. and I'm like, "Yeah, let's party more, woo!" So I just kept asking, I kept answering questions, and I guess that was what we needed to keep the audience interaction up just long enough for everybody to kind of get back into it when their second wins hit. So that was a cool thing. That was, it was a good sense of community for me to get, kind of props for really something that I didn't even expect me to do. So I was pretty happy about that, and I was really happy that Ro won. Like, she was so excited. I was really glad that it kind of shook out that way. Plus, money goes to charity. Everybody gets a lot of traffic. It was all just a good experience. It was really fun. I was really happy about it.
Yeah. I know, because I remember she was in second place for quite a lot of the campaign, and then pretty much at the last moment, she just stormed ahead.
Yeah, we swung back around. It was crazy.
Yeah.
But that was like, I think it was like the whole network came together. Like all of TGS and a lot of Maker came together to like really support Ro just in the last minute. Like, you know, while we were keeping the live stream going on, it was me and then Trisha Megumi and then her dog, Chris from NVIDIA, Ro and Husky, and we were just kind of keeping the dream alive, as it were. And then outside of that room, like everybody, TB, Jesse, Dodger, like all of our Game Station channels, a lot of people who were running in, like Dave Chaos from he was also running in King of the Web, and he totally came back around and was like, look, I'm throwing you all my votes, like take it. And like a lot of people who were like in lower positions who were watching that race come out kind of started backing Ro. And then a lot of Maker channels came back behind us, like Ron and Courtney, and just Pete. It was like a beautiful, beautiful moment where like everybody just came together to support Ro, and it finally paid off in the end by us winning. And it was just like, community.
Yeah, and speaking of community, it seems like you have a really great sense of community spirit where you're working, because it seems everyone looks out for each other, cares for each other, and everyone wants everyone else to succeed.
Yeah, no, and that's why I've always kind of really liked TGS. You know, in terms of like, yeah, every once in a while they take a really long time to get some stuff done. Like they're kind of like the typical lazy nerd. Like they, you know, if you need them to get something done like right away, they'll be like, I'm playing Tomb Raider. Can we do this like later? Oh, I'm in a raid. Come on. But you know, when they want a channel to succeed and when a channel wants to succeed, like they can really push some numbers. Like they're and like I love everybody there. They're a great group of people.
Cool. So if we talk about some people have likened you to a certain film star.
Oh God!
And has that always been the case? Has that always followed you throughout your life, or has that just been quite a recent thing?
So there was this part in the live stream where we pulled up an old photo of Elijah Wood and put it next to my face. When The Lord of the Rings first came out, I think I was in either junior high or early high school, and I looked exactly like young Elijah Wood, and and because my hair was long and kind of ratty too. So like it has followed me from high school through college and then post college. On my class ring in high school, it said Frodo in giant letters, and then on the other side it was like two naked dancing men because it was like it was the Gemini sign, but they were little like fat dudes. So they were like, oh look, it's two naked Hobbit men. So they put that on my class ring. Yeah, it's either that or Daniel Radcliffe are the two that I get all the time. And I'm rocking more of a Radcliffe look right now just because I'm sort of unshaven and the hair is kind of short. But when hair is out, I get Frodo all the time. I get Elijah all the time. Mm-hmm. And it has actually gotten me a lot of comped meals at Vietnamese restaurants. Because they're always like, oh yeah, it's you. And then just, you know, here's like a free something. So I you know, it's not necessarily a bad thing. I used to get really annoyed by it, but like over the years, it's like you can't be mad. You can't be mad that you look like two handsome, popular movie stars. No, oh woe is me! I can't believe such a misfortune has befallen me.
Yeah. Well, if you look now that Elijah Wood is pretty much doing everything he can to escape that Frodo Baggins image, because he's doing films like Maniac and trying to be far away as from typecast as possible.
I know. And it's never going to happen for him. I wish him the best luck in that. Wilfred is a great show, but Frodo, man, you picked a character to be, and that movie was really fucking good. So it's so sadly. It's just, I'm sorry, Elijah, you're a great dude. I love all your work. I don't think of you as Frodo necessarily, exclusively, because I am also Frodo. But, you know, when Elijah Wood sees this and watches this, I just want him to know. You'll always be not Frodo to me. And also, we should hang out.
Yeah, I was thinking that you and Elijah Wood need to meet together somewhere, I think it will be a very special moment for the both of you.
I have this fear that one day I'm going to be like walking through a store, and then Daniel Radcliffe and Elijah Wood are going to come at me at the same time. And stand in like a big, like we're all just going to be facing each other like a spaghetti western, like a Mexican standoff, and then we fight to the death just right there without saying a word. Just we all just know what has to be done. It's like the Highlander. There can only be one.
Yeah, I'll make sure I'll have your back in that one.
Okay, good.
Yeah, I'll just appear out of nowhere.
Cool, because Daniel's got like a whole army of wizards, and like Elijah's got all the dudes from Sin City and the Fellowship. So I'm gonna need you. It's like they'll be like, these are my crews. Like, what do you got? I'm like, oh, this is Patrick. He's cool. He's gonna. Patrick, where are you going? Right now, come back.
Yeah. So if we talk a bit now about your YouTube channel, you
yes, let's talk about my amazing YouTube channel.
Yes, Notquitefrodo.
My incredible YouTube channel that I update regularly.
Yeah.
Quality content.
So you started that over the summer. So what made you want to get into YouTube and start vlogging?
What made me want to get into YouTube? You know what, fans of me, I think you know, because you demanded that I do this, and you hounded me for 3 months until I made that stupid thing. And then I did, and I wasn't even good at it, and I didn't like it that much. And you're like, no, you're fine, you're good. Letting me embarrass myself constantly. Always letting me embarrass myself.
And is that
Yeah, you know, what's funny is everybody was really supportive of me making a YouTube channel. They're like, yeah, no, you're going to be perfect for it. Go for it. You're great. But starting a YouTube channel is expensive. To get, like, the equipment that you need to make that shit not suck, like, it's at least $1,000. And I was living out of a garage. So I'm like, yeah, I totally have $1,000 to throw at, like, a new computer that will instantly be infested by cockroaches. Or, like, you know... Just to do what? Like, to put out gameplay videos of me kind of awkwardly playing through games by myself alone in the dark at night? I like YouTube, and I really do want to put out videos that aren't terrible at some point, but, like, now I'm finally in the position where I can do it. I just need to clean up my room, because I've been building furniture for the last few days, so I'm not living in, like, an apocalypse. And once that's all done, and I need a monitor and a Wi-Fi card. And once I have those two things, I can finally start doing capture. But like, I don't really know. I don't really know what I want to do yet. People have said that they just want to hear drug stories. That I should say drug stories, and that'll be my whole channel. Tells drug stories. So that I'm looking into it. Maybe I'll animate them. It'll be fun.
Yeah, that'd be cool to see some sort of animated thing. So, you're also a writer for IndieStatic.com.
Yeah.
And which is run by Josh Mattingly, who also is in charge of the IndieStatic YouTube channel. So, how did you get How did you get involved with writing on a website?
Josh approached me one day. So the fee that I get from Maker for writing like freelance game reviews obviously is not high. It's not the greatest amount of money in the world. Obviously, if I had to live in a garage for a year, I mean it's good for freelancing. Like it's probably one of the best deals for freelancing that like you can get doing game reviews. But it's still not. If we have a slow month, it's not enough to live on. So Josh approached me. He's like, I have another like income stream for you. Do you want to write for this website? And, one of the things that appealed to me about that is it's indie titles, which don't get a lot of love. And also they're, a lot of them are a lot more daring or inventive with their gameplay. And 2, I didn't have to use, a 6-pronged rating system with a weird random number at the end. Like, I don't mind giving numbers, but I don't like numbering on reviews in general. Like, it's sort of a thing that I try to avoid. I don't like the kind of the way that reviews over the years have got the IGNization of reviews with their number scores, because people are right. The people in the comments a lot of the times are right about the number scores. They're arbitrary. I can look at a game and say like, oh, well, this game, it feels like a 6, and I'll just throw a 6 out. And, that's just the number we give. And a lot of people don't even listen to anything else that I've said. which is all of the important stuff. They don't even listen to any of that. They're like, oh, a 6. And, it's important to give, the publishers a number because they need to go to the trades with a number and say, like, oh, look, we have this number. They have to go to their investors and say, oh, we have this number. They have to go back to, their backers and say, oh, here's this number, so that they can get more money to make another game, or they can get enough press to sell the game more. With indies, it's a lot more, and the writing is more creative. So it's like a lot more just sort of chill. It's a lot more free in the way that I can write. The writing's a little more freeform. And what's great about Indie Static is I don't have like an image to maintain. I'm not, if Lisa reads like a drug story that I wrote, it's going to taint her forever. Not just in terms of her image, but it will probably scar her psychically for the rest of her life. And when I go into Indie Static and I'm like, all right, here's Proteus, which is one of the best games I've ever played in my life. I can say like, oh, well, Proteus is a lot like, these drug experience that I've had, and I can write them all out. And, it's like, that's just sort of my persona on there, is like a guy who's experimented with a lot of drugs, which is, I'm a guy who has experimented with a lot of drugs. So, I don't have to really do a lot of, I don't know, like watching my back in terms of what I say. I don't have to be careful about it. I can just sort of be like full on douchey Jared Ryder mode.
Am I right in thinking that you're also a budding author as well? Do you like to write stories?
Yes, a budding author. Ooh, I like that. I'm actually writing a book right now. I've been published before, but never in a full book. Never in a bookly. So I've been writing on a book. It started out as a political sort of commentary, but now it's gone full sci-fi. So I'm pretty happy about that. It's turning out really good. Husky and Roe have been bugging me so much about it that they're giving me some time to just work on it. I think in about a month or two, they're just like, all right, so take some time, finish your book. So I'm going to be doing that, and it's, I'm really excited about the way it's turning out. It's turning out really good, and I hate everything that I write. So when I'm writing this, and I look at it, and I've drafted it like 7 times a chapter, and I'm looking at the chapter like, all right, this is actually not terrible. Like, I'm really excited about it. It really is, like, the best thing I've ever written. So, I don't know when it's going to come out. It's a book. And I go back and I keep changing chapters. Like, I'll be like, chapter 2 isn't right yet. And I'll rewrite the entire chapter 2. So, I'm not too far along in the book yet, just because of a lot of redrafting. But it's, like, pretty great. I'm pretty happy about it.
Nice. So, do you have any future projects in the pipeline?
So there will be a, what's that thing that they do? The thingy. The, Nerd Alert. Yes, with Hugo Schneider. So the next Nerd Alert is a project that I co-wrote. Hey! So that is a thing that you should, check out. I'm not sure if it went through or not, but Maker wanted to do a piece that I wrote about space travel. I'm not sure if they'll end up doing it. Maker can kind of be weird about that, so we'll end up seeing if that goes anywhere. There are, we're covering GDC, so that's really just, we're covering GDC for Indie Static, and that's going to be, so while we have Josh who's doing video stuff and Chloe who's doing straight articles, my role in that is more of like Johnny Depp in the Hunter S. Thompson movies. Like I'm just supposed to wander, like Fear and Loathing. I'm just supposed to kind of wander and get into sort of misbehaving situations. It's just kind of like meet the dude from Antichamber and just kind of wreck everything. So that'll be an interesting thing. Rose working on me to write, co-write a movie script with her. So we're working on that. Her cookbook I'm supposed to help with as a ghostwriter. So that should be exciting. There are various kind of collabs that come up now and then of course I show up in live streaming stuff. I just kind of work on a lot of different things, sort of whatever suits my fancy, because one day I will be dead, so it doesn't really matter. work a 9 to 5 or a freelance gig, because either way, I will be dead.
Well, I guess that's one way to look at it. All right, so I'm going to ask you a question now, and it's a question I ask everyone who comes on here, and that is, if you were to create a video game, if a developer came to you and said, Jared, you can create a new video game, and it can be whatever it is, what would it be and why?
I actually have ideas for games that I've written down. Any game. Wow. Okay. All right. So this is my top secret video game idea. Obviously. Do not steal OTP. No. The game that I wanted to create. So a lot of the times we look at games, contemporary gaming, as sort of it's the era of player customization. Players want a very accessible game with a lot of different aspects to it that they can also customize. Like, they want to customize the look and feel and make it like their experience. So what I wanted to do was create a game where you actually create the mythology of the game as you go, as opposed to I mean the literal mythology of the game. The story would be the world ends through some convoluted way, and then you take up the mantle of the new demigod or god, and then you sort of, as you progress through the story, it sort of creates an alternate mythology that future generations will know you by, that's presented in the very old-timey classical mythology versus what you're actually doing, which is horrible genocide or whatever the fuck you do as an apocalypse godling. The gameplay itself would be sort of like a 3-man squad BioWare kind of a dealie, but a lot more action, I would say. More free roam areas versus the smaller sort of hub worlds. I feel it would be more KOTOR than Mass Effect, if that makes any sense.
So more kind of exploration based rather than combat.
Yeah. Maybe a combination of both. I want to get the Dragon Age 2 combat that was fucking cool, but also you didn't know what the hell was going on most of the time. That really action-packed Dragon Age 2 combat with the exploration mechanics of maybe the cooler parts of driving around in the Mako from Mass Effect 1, or those chunks of Knights of the Old Republic 2, where you just kind of had to wander around huge areas and figure out what the hell was going on. And you didn't really know. I don't even know where I'm supposed to go right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, it will be mixing those together, and sort of as you go through the game, you meet other people, and they're not gods from outer space or anything. They're just people who have assumed these powers through whatever reason. And then as you kind of kill them or let them live, they either join you or you kind of assimilate their powers. And with the end goal of becoming a master god being, and then taking down the dude who set all of this up in a cycle over and over and over again. It's more fleshed out in my journals, but
yeah,
I'm not a game developer, and I don't work with many game developers who have the capabilities of making that. So, just sort of a pipe dream right now. Sort of a thing I think about every once in a while, kind of polish it up.
No, that's great to hear. So, what do you have to say to all the people who've been following you, Jared, so far throughout your time at Maker and TGS, and also on your YouTube channel?
What do I say to my followers? Why? Good Lord! Yeah, I mean, you guys really are gluttons for punishment, because man, just follow that Twitter feed is a shit show. First of all, the fact that I'm constantly flirting with women over it is pretty bad. And then, not on top of the flirting with women, I'm also drunk a lot in Twitter. So I'll be drunk and tweeting. The YouTube channel is a complete shit show. It's I don't think I've posted a video in 3 or 4 weeks. And I'm not there's nothing on my wall that's oh, you should get to doing that, because I don't make any income from it. It's just a fun thing.
Yeah.
There's no reason for me to even do it. I do it whenever I kind of remember that I want to, or I'm bored. And then if you follow me on Tumblr, you know horrible things about me. God, you know the worst shit I could ever say, and I just say it all the time. Ugh. No, that would be, you know, like all my personal information. You know, like what kind of sex I like to have. God, you people just, you disgust me that you would follow somebody like me.
Gosh.
And keep following because I really appreciate it. Really big from all of you paying me attention when nobody really should. But the fact that you do, I love it. I love all of you. You're disgusting people, and keep following me.
Cool. So, quickly, where can we find you on the internet?
Where can you find me? You can find me at twitter.com/notquitefrodo, youtube.com/notquitefrodo, and then you can find my Tumblr, which is where all the real action is, at neoncircus.tumblr.com. And then there's if you want to read some of my short stories or like chapters from the book that I'm writing, you can go to the Bad Things tab on the main page, and it will take you to poetry and melancholy beat poems and really sad, depressing things, and then one horror story, because horror is fun sometimes. Also, before you follow any of those things, let me warn you ahead of time, I write all of the things for all of those. So, you know, just be aware. Oh, and be sure to follow the Good, the Bad, and the Rating on the TGS Hub page, because I write that. And then every once in a while I contribute to the trivia show, which I kind of founded and then let go for a while. So those are things that I write, and then I show up in other videos randomly.
Okay, that's really great to hear, Jared. So, thanks for coming on again. It's been great having you for this interview.
Well, absolutely. Thanks for having me.